What's up everyone, this is Chris with Flat 6 Motorsports, and today we're going to be showing you how to install AWE performance intercoolers as well as the IPD Y-Pipe and Plenum on this 991 Turbo S. As you can see, the car is already taken apart because in the last episode we showed you how to install this BMC air filter right here, but today we're going to be doing some hardware modifications as well as installing a Cobb Accessport and running the stage 1 map. This car is going to be a stage 1.5 setup because we've got more hardware than that's needed for the stage 1 tune, but we're going to be halfway to the stage 3 because we're soon going to be installing a high performance exhaust system, which is really going to let us tune the crap out of this car. Can I say crap? So I hope you enjoyed today's video. We're going to show you a few things, the differences between the factory parts and the parts that we're going to be installing today. And then at the end, we'll be talking about some of the metrics and performance data that we have to show how much power we gained. So now we're halfway through this job and I figured I would take the time to show you guys what everything looks like disassembled and go through piece by piece on each modification we're making and how they're gonna make a difference on this car. So here, the first thing that we had to remove was our air box. You can see we have the BMC air filter installed there. That gave us access to the Y-Pipe. So here's the factory Y-Pipe. You can see that the channels on here are pretty small, restrictive. It's all made out of plastic, classic Porsche engineering here. But what we're gonna be doing is replacing this Y-Pipe with the IPD aftermarket Y-Pipe. Now, to go beyond just doing that, we also have the factory Plenum right here. You can see it uses these kind of weird hinge design connectors to go to the intake runners on both sides of the motor. And here we have our upgraded IPD Plenum. So the biggest difference that you'll see is that this Plenum is actually split down the middle. So it has 2 channels of air to help direct the air into the runners, a nice splitting effect right down the middle so that the air is smoothly redirected to both of the intake runners. Whereas the factory Plenum, it's basically the air going into a wall and then having to decide which way it wants to go. So a little more efficiency right behind the intake throttle body is going to help the air split off more evenly, and that's going to create less turbulence so you have a little bit more airflow. Now the IPD Y-Pipe, just the same. This has been tested to ensure that the airflow is maximized as much as possible. There's a lot more volume in these runners as well, so that way we're able to flow more air to the intake system. Now over here we have the old intercooler and the new intercooler. These are the AWE performance intercoolers. They come with some carbon fiber shrouds, which are really nice, as well as this reinforced silicone hose, which helps keep heat away and out of the airflow so it's not transferring to the air that's inside. Now these intercoolers provide more volume and more surface area, so that way they're more effectively cooling the air that's coming out of the turbo and going into your intake. The factory ones are a good design, but These will definitely help take the car to the next level because we noticed a lot of heat soaking the last time that we went on the dyno. In fact, you can actually reach your hand right behind the bumper here and touch the fins of the intercooler, and we noticed that they were scalding hot when we did one pull. The next pull after that actually resulted in a 25% loss in horsepower, and that's of course because the car senses that the intake air temperatures are higher and it's not going to be able to use as much fuel and you're not going to get as much power. So by using the upgraded intercoolers, we'll keep the car running cooler, and that allows us to push more power safely. The only thing that we're not doing today is the exhaust system. When you think about an engine, think about an air pump. You want to get as much air into the motor as possible, as much air out of the motor as possible. So the only thing holding us back now is going to be the factory catalytic converters and the factory exhaust system. But like we said, we'll be taking care of that in a future video to really maximize the power potential on this car. So now let's get all the parts on and reassemble the car so that we can get some performance metrics and see how much power we gained with all these hardware mods. And then we're going to load our Cobb Stage 1 map and see exactly how much power we gained on top of that. And the last addition to the charged air system is going to be our Flat 6 Motorsports diverter valves. These are going to help regulate the boost and make sure that we don't have any leak coming through the piston, which is a common problem with the factory Bosch 90 degree. This is a great time to do the job as well because we're in here and it's no additional work for us to pop these diverter valves in to ensure that we don't have a problem once we get on the dyno. So that concludes the installation of our IPD Y-Pipe, Plenum, diverter valves, and intercooler kit on this 991 Turbo. We're gonna go ahead and take this thing out for a test drive now and make sure everything's running properly. And then we're gonna get some after performance metrics, and then we'll be ready to load our Stage 1 Cobb tune.
So here are the performance metrics that we did with our Dragy. We did 30 to 80 mile an hour tests because we felt that this would be most accurate for this car. Now you can see 100% stock on run 1. The car did a 3.51 second time. And then we let the car cool down for a minute before doing our second pass. and that resulted in a 3.72 second run. So it's 0.21 seconds slower than our first. And that is because of the heat soak that we talked about earlier. Now with our intake mods, not only did our car get faster on 30 to 80 mile an hour runs, but the deviation between the first and second runs was considerably lower, almost unnoticeable. And now the same is true with the Cobb Stage 1 tune and our intake mods. Of course, the car did get faster, and again, the deviation is low between our first and second run because the car isn't heat soaking anymore. If you enjoyed today's video, leave a like or a comment down below. We've got a lot more planned for this 991 Turbo, so stay tuned for more videos.